Lesson 8.2, multiplying binomials. This is our second day on this topic, and today we're kind of doing the special products, things that might happen but don't usually happen. The first thing we're looking at is we've got this quantity 3x minus 2 squared. This is really super simple if you can just kind of remember what this is saying. Let me just tell you what it's not saying really quick. It is not saying 3x squared minus 2 squared, right? It's not saying 3x squared minus 4. This is totally wrong. Please don't do this. What this is really saying is it's saying 3x minus 2 times itself. All right, and this is what that looks like. So 3x minus 2 squared means that we're multiplying the quantity times itself. And now this is just exactly like we did last lesson. You can do this with the method that you prefer. Remember, we talked about double distributive, foiling, or box method. Most of my students liked box method, so I'm going to do this with the box method. All right, so that was the majority out of all my classes. So we're going to draw a quick box, and we're going to label my box here. I'm going to have 3x and a negative 2, and then I'm going to have another 3x and a negative 2, and I'm going to multiply to find my product. So in this box, I'm going to multiply 3x times 3x. And 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Here, I'm multiplying, or here in this box, I'm multiplying negative 2 times 3x. Right? Negative 2 times 3x is going to be negative 6x. In this box, we're going to multiply 3x times negative 2. And we're going to get negative 6x again. And then finally in our last box, negative 2 times negative 2, which we know is positive 4. All right, once you've got these terms, we can just write them out. 9x squared minus 6x with a positive 4. Combine your like terms in the center. And we've got 9x squared. Negative 6 minus 6 is negative 12x, and then positive 4. All right, so really the only thing to take away from this problem is what to do when you have a binomial written like this with this squared term on the end of it. By the way, let's not forget that we can always check these answers. If we go to y equals, we can type in both. We can type in what we were given, which was 3x minus 2 squared. And then we can type in what we got, which was 9x squared. And I'm just typing over it what was already there. Minus 12x plus 4. All right, because remember, we didn't change anything here. All we did was we took this and we wrote it in a different way. We essentially expanded this small squared binomial. All right, so let's go. Oh, look at that. I typed in an extra squared term. That's not good. Let's delete that. Okay, so now let's check our graph. Looks like our original is in blue, our new one is in red, and they overlap, so we're good. You can also check your table, and you can see that all these y values are matching, which means that our equations are, our expressions are equivalent. All right, let's look at problem 2. We got 2x plus 6 times 2x minus 6, and we're going to do the box method again. Here we go. Here's my box, and we're going to line everything up on the sides. So we've got 2x plus 6. And on the other side, we've got a 2x and a negative 6. And now we multiply. All right, in this box, we're going to multiply 2x times 2x, which is going to give us 4x squared. Here in this box, we're doing 6 times 2x, which we know is 12x. This box is 2x times negative 6, which is negative 12x. And then finally, this box is 6 times negative 6, which is not 0. Multiplying it negative 36. Okay, we just write them out. 4x squared with a positive 12x, and then a negative 12x, and then minus 36. Combine our like terms in the middle, and this time we get 4x squared plus 0x minus 36, which we know we don't write 0x, which means we're left with 4x squared minus 36. All right, we're going to talk about this when we get into factoring. This is a special example. You don't have to remember this, but we will see this again. This is an example of, and it's called the difference of squares. All right, the difference of squares. We'll talk about that more later, but when this happens, we end up with only 2 terms, a binomial, instead of our usual 3 terms. Okay, that does happen occasionally. All right, problem 3 says find the area of a square that has a side length of x plus 4 units. So we can draw a picture here, and we can see x plus 4 and x plus 4. Right? It's a square, so we know that the sides are identical. And we can remember that area is equal to length times width. Or in this case, since it's a square, we could really just say length times length, which would really just be length squared. So what we're going to say here, we're going to remember that the area, or the formula for a square is side squared. All right? So I'm going to say the area for this square is going to be x plus 4. I'm having trouble here. X plus 4 squared. Another way to write this would be x plus 4 times x plus 4. So this step is kind of unnecessary. I just wanted to get us a little bit more exposure to what we do when we have this 2 here on the outside, right? We write it twice. Now that we have it drawn, we can go ahead, we could do our box, right? We're going to have x plus 4 on one side, and on the other side we're going to have the same 2 terms, an x and a 4. And now we get to multiply. We get x times x to give us this term, which is going to be x squared. This term is going to be 4 times x, which we know is 4x. Here we're going to have another x times 4, which is 4x. And finally, 4 times 4 is going to go here, and we know that that is 16. So we have x squared and a positive 4x, another positive 4x, and then a positive 16. Combine your like terms, and we've got x squared with a positive 8x plus 16. The next one has us finding the area of a rectangle. So problem 3 was a square, problem 4 is a rectangle, and they do give us the formula this time. It's never a bad idea, y'all, to draw a quick picture. The length, it says, is 2x minus 1. The width is x plus 8, and of course we know that we multiply these together to find our area. So in this case, we're going to say the area is 2x minus 1 times x plus 8. And now this is a problem just like we've been practicing. So again, let's draw our box. My boxes always look different. We've got a 2x and a negative 1. Let's fix that. And then we've got an x and an 8. And so those numbers are going to go on the left side, those terms. And now we multiply. So this is going to be the product of 2x times x, which we know is 2x squared. That box is going to have the product of negative 1 and x, which is going to be negative 1x. This box is going to be the product of 2x and 8, which we know is 16x. And then finally, in here, we're multiplying negative 1 times 8, which is negative 8. So my 4 terms, I've got 2x squared minus 1x, a positive 16x, and then a negative 8. All I got to do to be finished is combine like terms. And I've got 2x squared plus 15x minus 8. And I only did it for problem 1, but problems 2, 3, 4, we can also have been checking in our calculator if I just wasn't trying to get through this and not take forever. Okay, problem number 5, find the area of a triangle. All right, y'all, a triangle, we do have the formulas here. We've got 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. I'm going to actually go ahead and use this one for today. They're the same thing. All right, so if I draw up my picture, I've got a base of x plus 9, and I've got a height of 5x plus 2. So we're going to line this up. We're going to say, okay, area is equal to 1/2 base, which was x plus 9, times height, which was 5x plus 2. Now, we're going to save this 1/2 to deal with at the end. Let's go ahead and deal with this like we know we usually would. So over here, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to draw a box for my multiplication of these binomials. So I'm going to have an x and a 9, and then I'm going to have a 5x and a 2, and we're going to multiply here. All right, let's see. We've got the product of 5x and x going in this first box, which we know is going to give us 5x squared. This is going to be 9 times 5x, which is 45x. Here we've got 2 times x, which we know is 2x. And finally, we've got 9 times 2 giving us this product here, and we know 9 times 2 is 18. So I've got 5x squared plus 45x plus 2x plus 18. Combine my like terms just like always, and I've got 5x squared plus 47x plus 18. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put that in over here. So really I've got 1/2 times 5x squared plus 47x plus 18. And now we're just distributing, and we are going to get some decimals here. So 1/2 times 5, if you're not sure, you can always type this in your calculator. You can do 0.5 instead of 1/2. So 1/2 times 5, we're going to get 2.5. So 2.5x squared. And then we've got 1/2 times 47. Again, I mean, it's going to be a decimal, but it's not too big of a deal. It's not a bad one. 1/2 times 47 is 23.5. Don't forget x. And then plus, what is 1/2 times 18? We know that's just 9, right? Because we're just, whenever you multiply by 1/2, you're essentially dividing by 2. Oh, of course I typed it in wrong. Should be a times. Sorry. Here we go. And we get 9. All right, so this is my final answer. So for a triangle, you just have to divide everything by 2 at the end, which is the same as multiplying by 1/2. All right, so these are your special cases. If you felt good about the last lesson and you feel good about today's lesson, you've pretty much got all your bases covered when you're multiplying binomials.